Teacher, welcome to Drishti IAS. So we'll be continuing with our new NCERT series. Up until now, we have already covered class 9th NCERT Polity and we've started with class 10th. And in class 10th also, we are done with chapter 1. So today we are going to start with chapter 2, which talks about federalism. Now, before I start, am I audible and visible to all of you? Yes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vishal, Manoj. Yes, I can see. Ananya, there are a lot of students already here. Yes, good evening, everyone. Can you just confirm once if I'm audible and visible to all of you so that we can start the session? Okay. So in the first chapter, we talked about power sharing. I hope you remember that. I also gave you an answer writing question. And I've seen that some of you have answered. Why are not all of you answering? Are you not preparing for the exam seriously? Because if you are, you have to practice questions both for prelims and for mains. Yes. Just 1 second. All right, great. So let's start with the chapter number 2, Federalism. In the first chapter, we talked about power sharing. We saw 2 examples, 2 stories, one of Belgium and one of Sri Lanka, that how in one story, when the power was shared, it led to a peaceful existence, peaceful coexistence. Whereas in the other story, which is of Sri Lanka, the power they refused to share power, which led to civil war. So we have understood that power sharing is important. Yes, thank you very much. I don't know what your name is, Raj. All right, thank you so much. And for the rest of you, please hold on to your questions. We will talk about them at the end of the session, or maybe in between, I'll ask you to ask your questions, okay? So yes, we saw how power sharing is extremely important in a country that leads to unity and peaceful coexistence, right? It leads to respect for everyone, because if there is only one group who has all the powers, what about the rest of the groups? Are we not respecting them equally enough to share powers? So this is why power sharing is important. And another name for power sharing is federalism. That's what we will talk about in today's session. So the first question arises, what is federalism? And yes, for those of you who have asked about the notes, how to make notes, or where would you get this PDF? You'll get this PDF in our Telegram group. The link of that Telegram group is given in the description box. You can join that Telegram group and you will find these PDFs there. And usually what I do is I try to include whatever is important in the PDFs itself, so that you can make notes directly from the PDF if you want to. So you can find the PDF in that group, in the Telegram group. If you haven't joined them, please join the Telegram group. And for the rest of you who are new here, this session happens every day 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday, and we are covering new NCERTs. And there was one more question that was asked yesterday, that was in the comment section, that will we be covering economics? Yes, we will be covering economics as well. Once we are done with polity, because in polity there are 3 more chapters after this that we have to cover. Then we have to cover class 11th polity. Once we are done with that, we'll probably start with either economics, or we will start with geography. In geography, we will study from 6th to 12th standard. So it's going to take some time. So I'm thinking I'll start from economics. You can write your suggestion in the comment section. Which subject do you want me to teach next in NCERTs? Very good, Ananya. Yes, we talked about vertical power sharing, that is federalism. In federalism, see, power sharing is federalism. That can also mean vertical power sharing, that can also mean horizontal power sharing, and we have already seen both of these in yesterday's session, in the last chapter. So if you haven't studied the last chapter with me, please go ahead after this session and study from it once. Just go through the lecture once. You will understand. I try to simplify it as much as possible. All right, so without further ado, not in the live chat box, in the comment section, because I can see, the team can see it after the class as well, not in the live chat box. You can write which subject would you like me to cover in the comment section later when you write an answer, the answer that I give you for answer writing, right in that space. Okay, so what is federalism? As we have already discussed, power sharing is called federalism. It is as simple as that. Please hold on to your questions now. So federalism is a system of government where power is shared between the central government and the state government. Why not the local government? I didn't say local government as of now, because initially when the constitution was made, we only shared power with the state government. So there was power sharing between central government and state government. Later on, we also made another tier government, which is the local government. So we'll talk about that in a while. So power sharing between central government and state government, which is the provincial government, is called federalism, is as simple as that. Now in federalism, you need to understand that both the governments have or get the power or authority from constitution, and constitution gets the power from people. That's what we studied in preamble, we the people of India. The authority given to the constitution comes from people, from all of us, and both these governments get their authority from people. So in federalism, we cannot say that state government is subordinate or it is going to depend on central government for its power, right? Both of them get legitimacy, both of them get their power from the constitution, and constitution gets power from the people. I hope that is clear. 73rd and 74th amendment, yes, that is right. We will talk about that in a while. I did check the answers. I just did not bring them in today's session. I will bring them in tomorrow's session. Don't worry about it. I did check the answers. Yes. Quasi-federalism. Yes, we will talk about it. All right. Next. So both these governments work independently. We cannot say that the power has been shared between central and state. So that means that state government is subordinate to the central government, or state government is going to ask for powers from the central government. No, they get their powers individually from the constitution, and the constitution gets power from people. So they work independently. All right. Okay. Next is, what is the purpose of federalism? Now, even before I tell you any of this, I am pretty sure you know the answer to this, because we have seen this in the previous chapter, that when you have federalism, which means when you share power, it ensures unity because everybody feels respected, right? It ensures unity in a country because every community, whether it is majority or minority, feels respected. They feel like they have the dignity, they have the power to live in the country, they have the freedom or equality. So that ensures equal respect for everyone, and that ensures unity among everyone. So the federalism has two main objectives. First, it ensures unity of the country, right? It ensures unity of the country, and it accommodates regional diversity. So we said that it shows that we are giving power to everyone. It shows that we are respecting everyone, and because everybody is respected, we are respecting diversity, and that means we are accommodating the diversity. So whatever regional diversity we have, whatever linguistic diversity we have, because India is a hugely diverse country. So we are respecting diversity and we are maintaining regional diversity, accommodating regional diversity. So that is the purpose of federalism. I'm not going to go in detail here because the first chapter itself we have studied only this in detail. All right. Now my question is, if you want federalism to succeed, what do you actually require? Federalism is power sharing. If you want power sharing to succeed, what exactly would you require? I think your questions are being repeated, beta. Nevertheless, just hold on to your questions. I will answer them in a while. Yes, for federalism to succeed, what exactly is required? First, because it is about power sharing, every party involved must agree to share power, right? Because it is about power sharing, the parties involved must agree to share power. For example, when we are talking about Sri Lanka, in Sri Lanka, the majority community did not want to share power. So there was no federal structure there and it did not succeed. So in federalism, if we want it to succeed, the first and foremost condition is every involved party, the different governments must agree that, okay, we are going to share powers and it is all right. Right. Mutual trust. Very good, Ananya. Yes. And second thing is mutual trust. We trust each other to respect the boundaries Constitution has given us. If the Constitution says that there is a central list or union list in which the subjects are there, which will be on which the laws will be made by center or the union government, and then there are state subjects on which the laws can be made by the state government. So both the central government and state government will trust each other enough, respect each other enough to stay in their bounds. Now, of course, if it is about the fact that if there is some emergency in the country, then the rules are a little tweaked, but otherwise they will have the trust that, all right, this is a state subject, so center is not going to interfere in the state subject, or this is a central subject, center subject in the union list, so the state government is not going to make a fuss about it. So there's a mutual respect which is required. So first condition is that they must agree to share power, and the second condition is there should be a trust that they will stay within the bounds of the Constitution. They will stay within the powers that Constitution has given them. They will respect constitution. That is a second requirement. Yes, concerns of both, mutual agreement, very good, mutual agreement to live together, very good, absolutely. But in India, union has more power than states. We will talk about this. See, union has more powers than state in some matters. We have kept it. Why we have kept it like that? We will talk about it. There are two different, largely the center does not interfere with states matters, right? States have independence in the state list. In the subjects in the state list, they can make the laws. So for federalism to succeed, different governments must agree to share power, and they must trust one another and respect the constitutional boundaries or the constitutional provisions that have been given. So there are two kinds of government, two kinds of system, federal system and unitary system. Before we move ahead to the slide, let's just discuss it a little bit. So what is a federal system? As the name suggests, federal system means there is power sharing. So there has to be more than one party or group involved which will share power. And when I say party, I don't mean political party, I mean maybe from different levels of government, different tiers of government. So there has to be at least more than one party involved in this case to share power. That is federal structure. Unitary, as the name suggests, unit means one, right? So unitary, as the name suggests, here the most of the powers will be concentrated with the main government, one government only, with one party involved only. So that is a basic difference between federal structure, federal system and unitary system, right? Okay, the next is in federal system, because I said in federal system, we have given powers to states also, and by we, I mean constitution. We have given power to constitution, constitution has given power to both center and the states. So center and states will function independently. They both of them have powers. But in case of unitary system, because center is the strongest government, the states get power from center. So in federal structure, there is constitution, right? And constitution gives power to center and state. Whereas in unitary system, there is one government, let's just call it central government. The central government or union government gives power to states. That is the basic difference. One second. All right. So that is the basic difference. What else? In the federal structure, because both the governments get their power from constitution, one government cannot boss around or order the other government to do according to their whims and fancy or according to whatever they want, whatever they desire. So here, because state gets power from constitution, center cannot say, oh, you have to do this now, randomly, arbitrarily. No, it has to be what is already there in the constitution. But in case of unitary, because state gets their power from center, center can tell states what to do, and center will always tell states what to do. So center will always direct lower governments how to function or what to function, right? All right. Here, now this is the question that you will answer. In federal structure, both the governments are answerable to whom? In federal structure, both the governments are answerable to whom? For example, in unitary structure, state government will be answerable to center, right? In case of federal structure, both the governments, state government and central government, they will be answerable to. India has taken federal system from Canada. We'll talk about Indian federal system, just relax. Yes, the constitution or the citizens. So here the power is given to state and center by the citizens, directly by the people, by the constitution, and constitution gets power from people. So here both the governments get power from people themselves. Very good. So I hope you are able to understand the basic differences and nuances, and right now it might feel like this is very simple. How can there be a question from it? But when there is a question, these basic differences, these nuances make a lot of difference in marking the right answer. Usually the students make a lot of mistakes here. So it's very important that you clear your bases, the concepts. Okay, let's see what is given here as well. In federal structure, power is divided into center and state. Between center and state, we have just studied that. In unitary system, most power is with the central government. We have already studied that. Here, the states have constitutional powers, meaning the state and center get their powers from the constitution, which is directly by the people, right? And center cannot order states on state subjects, right? States have gotten their power in the matters of state subject, and center cannot boss around. Center cannot say what you can and cannot do in terms of state subjects. Whereas in unitary, because center is all powerful here, States derive their power from center, and central governments can direct lower governments how and what to act on. Similarly, lower governments are answerable to the central government. Is it clear to everyone? Example of unitary system, beta will talk about it, Bharat. Just give me 1 minute. We are just building the concept right now. We will build on it. We'll go to a little advanced level also, of course, within the bounds of NCERTs, but we will go to a little advanced level as well. Don't worry. Parliament. Ritam, I did not understand your question. Can you write the entire sentence, because I don't know what you're trying to say. Okay. Now, what are the examples of federal system and unitary system? For example, unitary system is there in Sri Lanka. Unitary country is there, is Sri Lanka. This is given in your NCERT. Okay. For federal structure, we have India, USA, Canada, Australia, Switzerland, Belgium, Germany, Brazil, Russia. And in that also, federal countries also, there are two different kinds of federalism. Now, all the federalism is not the same. There are two different kinds of federalism that we will talk about in a while. Is everything clear till here? Do you have any questions? You can ask if you have any questions. Okay, so I am taking it as no, you don't have any questions. So like I said, federation also is of two types. So not all the federations are equal. It is of two types. First is coming together federation, and the second is holding together federation. Central and state government are answerable to parliament. Central and state government, every government is answerable to people, directly to people. We keep saying the government is answerable to parliament. Why? Because we have chosen the representatives in parliament, right? So if you really think about it, every government in India is answerable to people, to the constitution, that is to the people. Okay, great. So there are two kinds of federation. First is coming together federation, and the second is holding together federation. Now everything you need to know is right there in this definition itself. How? Coming together means there are different independent units that are coming together, right? So let's say there are different independent units and they all decided that we'll live together. So they become a part of one country. This is coming together. What will be holding together? Holding together means there was one single unit and they divided their powers so that administration could be done easily. Now here there were not different independent units that came together. Here we have divided it later in different independent units, slightly independent units, so that administration can be easier, because one central government cannot administer such a large diverse country such as India. So there are two kinds of federation, coming together federation and holding together federation. Now if I ask you a question, in either of these federations, in which federation is it easier for the states to part away, to drift away? In which of these can the states drift away? They can say, okay, we don't want to be a part of this federation anymore, we are just going. Which of these is possible? We will talk about it, beta, why India preferred to become federal. And this is a question you can also answer. If you have, were you there in the last class? Did you study chapter 1 with me? Did you study chapter 1 with me? Because if you did, then it is very important that you already know that power sharing is important for any country to survive, to live peacefully, for a democracy to exist. And federal is power sharing. So they decided to power share. Now the important question, that is not the question. The important question is, why did we choose which one of these, whichever we chose, why did we choose that? That is the question that you should be asking. Coming together. Yes, very good. What did I say? These were independent units that decided, okay, now we are going to live together. So they were already independent and they decided to live together. Now here, if one day one decides, okay, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, they can leave, right? But in case of holding together, they were not independent units earlier. This was just one unit that existed, and we made little independent units so that we can administer easily, so that this unit will administer this area, this unit will administer this area, something like that. Because for one government to administer a very vast, diverse country is going to be very extremely difficult, right? So now if a part of it wants to go away or drift apart, that is not possible because they were not independent earlier. We gave them some power so that we can administer them. Here, they were already independent units that decided to come together. So they can go away. Does that mean USA doesn't share power? No, in both of them, USA, I mean, in both of them, they share power. The very word federal means they will share power. It's just that there's different kind of power sharing that is happening. We will talk about it, just relax. Okay, now let's talk about it in detail. The first is coming together federation. Here, as I told you, they were independent states that voluntarily decided to join together, that we are going to live together now. For example, USA. USA is a coming together federation. Now, because they were already independent states and they decided to be together, they can drift apart. It is possible here. Here, states are stronger. All states enjoy equal powers. There is no unitary bias or unitary tilt like I told you in case of India. So, examples are USA, Switzerland and Australia, right? Next is holding together federation. As the name suggests, here it was already a unit which was divided into smaller units so that administration could be done easily. Otherwise, what will happen? A government at the center cannot administer every part of this country, especially when every part of the country is such diverse. There are so many different languages, people, culture, ethnicity, all of them living together. So it won't be possible for one government at the center to administer everybody peacefully. So they divided it into smaller parts, or they gave some powers to the states also to administer individual state, and overall the power, major power remains with center. So we have holding together federation, and the example is India, Belgium and Spain. So India belongs to this country where center is stronger. States have power, but they have unequal power, right? And some states receive special provisions. Why? Because they require, so for example, because of geographical reasons or because there are more tribal people in that area. So they get special, they get some privileges, they get some special provisions for them to help. Is it clear? Do you have any questions until now? Summary book is enough. Beta, I don't think, okay, if you want to read, please go ahead and read the book. Otherwise, what you can do is you can attend these classes, and then if you want, you can go ahead and read the NCERTs, the same chapter that we have studied, or you can read these chapters from the advanced books also. You can start from there as well. You will be able to understand at least 50% of whatever is written in the advanced books. Okay, great. All right. So we are holding together federation. We still have time. Great. Now, what are the features of federalism? If we say in a country there is federalism, what are the features of it? First would be, because federalism talks about power sharing, there will be more than one government because it is federalism. So there are two or more levels or tiers of government. For example, in India, we have central government, state government, and now we also have local bodies, right? So the first feature of federalism is there will be more than one levels of government, more than one tiers of government. Second is different tiers govern the same citizens. Now, why I am giving these statements as such? Because it is there in NCERT, and let's say tomorrow there's a question that comes up, and in that features of federation are given, and then they ask you which of these are the features of federation. So if you don't understand these individual points, you might make a mistake. What does it mean? Different tiers govern the same citizens. How can they govern the same citizens? They are different citizens in the state. So how can they govern the same citizens? Let me see what you have to answer there. Yes. Why? What is this statement? What does this statement mean? Different tiers govern the same citizens. Right. Okay. Yes, it's very obvious. Problems of locals are solved. There is power sharing. No. Everything is right. You're writing it correctly that power sharing is there. Local problems are also solved. But my question is, this statement says different tiers govern the same citizen. Different tiers means central government, state government and local bodies. It is saying they all govern the same citizens. What does that mean? One vote is equal to all. No, you're just throwing everything, and I think you're waiting for something that sticks. What does this statement mean? This is very easy statement although. Okay, see, there are different tiers of government. Each tier has its, okay, they have their jurisdiction. That is true. You're right. You're telling everything. Whatever you're saying is correct. But it says they all govern the same citizen. What does that mean? See, it's very simple. We are saying different tiers govern the same citizen, meaning different tiers are union government, state government, and then local bodies, right? There is union list, state list, In union list, there are subjects of national importance, right? For example, there is defense, foreign affairs, or currency. And whenever a union government makes any law on union subject, who do you think that affects? That affects citizens only, those citizens that are living in the same country. Similarly, there are state governments. Now, state government have matters such as the police or public health or agriculture. Vinayak, just give me a second, I'll read your answer. Public health or culture. But they also affect what? Citizens of that state, and this union list anyway affected the citizen of that state. So different tiers of government are affecting the same citizens. That's what it means. So this is a very common feature of federation. This is a common feature of federation, that different tiers govern the same citizens. Similarly, like some of you said that the local government deal with local issues, the issues of local people. Now those are also the citizen of India itself. So different tiers govern the same citizen. That's what it means. And if it comes in your answer, in your question, in the prelims, you should know that this is a feature of federalism. Okay, so what you have written? Central and state government, same citizen like they? Yeah, okay. Whenever you give an answer, please write an answer once and then stop, so that others can also answer. Government governs the same citizens, mean the same citizen governed by central. Yes, exactly. Very good. Because what is your name? I asked you in the yesterday's session also, and I think I forgot, or maybe you didn't answer. All right. But in the unitary system, what happens? There is a single government which has most of the power, and in the federal system, as we have studied, it distributes the power between different governments. Great. Next is constitutional division of power. We already know about that. We have just studied. In federation, there is division of power, means there will be center list, union list, where center will legislate. There will be state list, state subject, where state government will legislate. And for local issues also, we have government. So there are central list or union list, there is state list, and then there is concurrent list. Who legislates in the matters of concurrent list? We know that for union list, center makes legislates, center makes the law. For state list, state makes the law. What about the concurrent list? Who makes the law in concurrent list? And can you give me example of different subjects in the concurrent list? Yes, this you will answer right now. I'll see in the comment section. Until then, let's move on. Next is constitution cannot be changed unilaterally. What does that mean? Unilaterally means only one government cannot change it. So for example, the central government cannot change it completely without the ratification of the states, without asking the states. You can understand it like that. So for example, all the matters, all the subjects which are going to affect states also, the center has to talk to states about it. The center has to consult states about it. For example, goods and services tax. Goods and services tax subsumed so many different taxes, and it affected center and state both. So that was a subject that affected both center and state. So the center did not make a law unilaterally or by itself. The center, you can say, consulted the states as well. So this is again this is one of the features of federalism. Because the power is shared, if there is any law that is going to affect the states have to be consulted. The center cannot just make a law on that particular subject on its whim and fancy arbitrarily, or just decide that, oh, I'm going to make the law on this subject, even though it affects the states, I'm not going to ask the states. That doesn't happen in the federal system. Whereas in completely unitary system, this can happen because center is all powerful. Most of the power is with center. Next is independent judiciary. Now, again, this is a feature of federalism. Why is independent judiciary a feature of federalism? Technology, electricity. Is technology in concurrent list? Legal, judicial. Okay, Shushmita, I just asked, give me example of the subjects which are there in concurrent list. I asked you about the examples. Okay, next is independent judiciary. How does independent judiciary prove that there is federalism? Now that is the question. How does independent judiciary prove there is a federalism? See, in federalism, the basic point is there will be power shared between center and state. Now let's say there is a dispute and it is not emergency situation, because in national emergency, center becomes powerful in our kind of federation. But this is general feature that we are studying. So let's say there is a dispute between center and state, who will resolve that dispute? That dispute will be resolved by the judiciary. So judiciary makes sure that whatever powers have been given to different forms of government, different tiers of government, those powers stay with them. No one government makes or takes advantage of their powers. That is the function of judiciary. So independence of judiciary is very important for it. So for example, if the judiciary was not independent, if the central government could influence judiciary, in that case, whatever verdict would come would always be in the favor of central government. So independent judiciary directly becomes a feature of federalism, because whenever there is a dispute between different forms or different tiers of government, judiciary comes into picture and judiciary solves that dispute. Yes, very good. Because you're absolutely right. It is essential. Independent judiciary is essential in federalism because it resolves disputes between the center and state. And not just center and state, even if one state exceeds the authority, then also it can resolve the dispute. Great. Next is separate source of revenue. So for center and state, there are separate sources of revenue. It's not like the state completely depends on the center for its revenue. And that ensures, because there is state tax, there are taxes where a share goes to the state. So because of the different taxation system, center and state can have separate sources of revenue. It's not like the state depends completely for revenue on the center itself, because then it would give unfair advantage to center. It will give all the power to center, right? So this also is a very important feature of federalism. And finally, dual objective. What dual objective are we talking about? The dual objective is, as I told you in the previous slide, that first, it preserves national unity, because every group feels respected, every group feels like they have the power. So it creates a feeling of togetherness, brotherhood, unity in a country. So it preserves country, and at the same time, in a country where there is a lot of diversity, it also preserves the diversity. It preserves and protects the diversity, because right now we have given power to every person, different religious groups, different linguistic groups. So the diversity is protected. They feel like they're included in the system, so they feel protected. So these are the two important objectives of federalism. First, it preserves unity, and the second, it protects the diversity in a country. Is it clear to everyone? Yes, very good. Okay, so the concept, there is one particular subject, which is marriage or divorce. Which list is it there in? Marriage or divorce, which list is it there in? Next. So now we have talked about the general features of federalism. Those were the general features of federalism. We will talk about what makes India a federal country. Now we will talk about India. So some of you were asking questions about India. Now you can ask questions after we are done with this. So can anybody tell me what is Article 1? What is given in Article 1 of the Indian Constitution? Article 1 of the Indian Constitution. Can anybody tell me? You should know this by heart. Article 1 of the Constitution. Yes, that is in concurrent list. Very good. So can anybody tell me what is there in Article 1 of the Constitution? It talks about union government. No. It talks about union of states. Very good. India, that is Bharat. But after that, what? Yes. Very good. Article 1 says India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. Now see, remember, it does not say federation of states. It says union of states. It says union of states. So we are a federation. We have a federal structure. But we have the second kind of federation, second type of federation that I talked about, which is holding together federation. So here, it specially says India, that is Bharat, is a union of states, which means here, it's not like independent states were there and they came together to build a federation. Instead, it just means that there was one entity and we divided power, we gave power, we shared power for administration purposes, which is why now the different units cannot break apart, because they were not independent earlier. They were already a part of India and we divided power largely. We divided power to make the administration easier. They cannot break apart, and that is why they use the term union. In fact, in Lakshmikant, you will find one particular statement which says names the country India, that is Bharat, defines it as union of states, a term chosen over federation to indicate union is, yes, very good. Shushmita has said it correctly, that it shows that we did not use the word federation, we use the word union to show that you have the power. Everybody has power, we have shared power, but you cannot move away, you cannot secede. That is called secede. The states cannot decide one day, they wake up one day and they decide, oh, we don't want to be a part of India. That particular situation is not something that is going to happen because India is a union of state. Okay. Next is, so originally, because we are federation, originally we had union government and state governments, as I told you earlier, and now later local governments were also added as the third tier of the government. So what are the federal features of Indian Constitution? I told you Indian Constitution is a federation. Somebody in the comment section also said it is a quasi-federation, or some people say quasi-federation. So quasi-federation, which means it is federation but with a unitary tilt or unitary bias. So Indian Federation is a federation. India is a federation with unitary tilt or unitary bias. Unitary tilt or unitary bias. So what does that mean? That means that in Indian Constitution we have the features of federation as well as we have the features of union as well, the unitary system as well, union government as well. So my question is, this you can be asked and has been asked earlier also in prelims, where they give you some features and they say which of the following are the federal features of Indian Constitution, or which of the following are the unitary features of Indian Constitution. This question can be asked. So you should know which are the federal features, and just knowing them is not enough, because if you try to mug them up, you will forget them later. So we will also understand each point why this shows that there is federation in India, or in the next slide when we talk about unitary system, why this shows that these are the unitary feature, or this reflects the unitary feature of Indian Constitution. So we'll talk about them as well in detail. But before that, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Yes, it is flexible and rigid both. Very good. And we will see how it is flexible and rigid. Okay, before I move ahead, can you tell me some of the features which reflect the federal structure or the federal feature of Indian Constitution, and some of the features which are the unitary feature of Indian Constitution? Can you tell me that? Then we will discuss this. Okay, I'll give you options, right? You will tell me whether it is a federal feature or a unitary feature. So, let's say Constitution is supreme. Constitution is supreme. What is it? Is it the federal structure? Does it show the federal structure, or it shows the unitary structure of Indian Constitution? I repeat, Constitution is supreme. Residuary, we'll talk about that beta. Abhi we have just started with Indian Constitution, right? So we will talk about the each list also. Central union list, state list, concurrent list, and then there are some residuary powers. What are those? What are some subjects which are not there in any of these lists? Those are the left subjects, and on those matter the power is given to center, that is residuary power. But we will talk about that. Some of you said it is unitary, some of you said it is federal, most of you said it is federal. Yes, very good. It is a federal structure, federal feature. Why is it a federal feature that Constitution is supreme? Because according to Constitution, both center and state have got powers in terms of central, union list and state list. So they have got power and they have jurisdiction on those list or those subjects. So when I say Constitution is supreme or Constitution is powerful, it shows that Constitution has given these power, and which is why neither of them can meddle with each other. They have got powers from Constitution, that is from us, the people of India. Very good. It is a federal structure. No, Harsh, I did not ask about Indian Constitution in general. I said this particular feature, whether it is federal structure or unitary structure. Okay, now I'll ask you another question. Let's say I say bicameral legislature. What is bicameral legislature? Bicameral legislature is that we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. There are two houses in the parliament, right? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So at the center, we have bicameral legislature. What does it show? What does it show? Is it a federal structure, or it shows the unitary structure? What does it show? bicameral legislature at center, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha at center, what does that show? Does it show the federal feature of Indian Constitution, or it shows the unitary feature of Indian Constitution? There are two houses, yes. Federal, why? Why does it show the federal structure? We are just talking about the center. Then why does it show the federal structure? We are only talking about the center, then why does it show the federal structure? And we have studied it in 9th standard. The 9th standard polity that we did, there is one concept we studied there, and that concept will be used. See, this is how every class is interrelated, and you should not miss any of the classes. Yes. So why does it show the federal structure? That is my question. You have said it is federal structure, and it is true. This shows the federal feature of Indian Constitution. But why? That is my question. See, bicameral legislature means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now, Lok Sabha representatives are elected directly by the people, right? This elected directly by the people, and Rajya Sabha actually are indirectly elected. How? Because representatives at state are elected by people, and those state representatives make the elections, or the state representatives choose people in Rajya Sabha. So there was one statement that I told you in 9th standard polity, which is Rajya Sabha shows states. Lok Sabha represents people, Rajya Sabha represents states, if you remember that. Now at the center, we are talking about people and states as well. So it shows that the power is distributed between center and state both, because we have chosen state representative at center as well. So again, bicameral legislature at center will show the federal structure. Very good. So yes, you at least know whether it is federal or unitary. You just need to know the reasons also, so that you don't forget in your examination. Okay, I'll give you one more question, and then we will end the session today, and we will continue with this tomorrow. Now, but because you have answered so many questions in today's session, you'll be able to understand the rest of the chapter very easily. Don't worry about it. Okay. Single citizenship. You can hold on to your questions now. I'll write it here. Single citizenship. Is it a federal feature or a unitary feature? Single citizenship. Is it a federal feature or a unitary feature? Rajya Sabha is a permanent house, but that does not show the federal feature. See, the moment I say word federal, the first thing that should come into your mind is power sharing. So, if Rajya Sabha is permanent also, how will it show that there is power sharing between center and state? That should be the first question that comes to your mind. Unitary, very good. Why? Why does it show the unitary feature? Yes, it shows that there is only one citizenship. In India, there is only one citizenship. The center, we don't have different citizenship for states and center, right? In USA, there is dual citizenship, because both center and state is equally powerful. But in India, because center is more powerful than states, we'd only have the feature of single citizenship. So this shows that center is more powerful, and that is a feature of unitary government. So this is the unitary feature of Indian Constitution. Very good. So I hope all these concepts are clear to you now. Tomorrow we'll continue with the same, we'll continue with this chapter, and I think we'll be able to do away with it probably in tomorrow's session itself. But until then, in the comment section, what you will do is, you will make a list. This is your homework. In the comment section, I will check it. In the comment section, you will make a list of the federal features of Indian Constitution and unitary features of Indian Constitution. I repeat, these are asked in examination, in the prelims. These have been asked and these can be asked again. So you will write what are the federal features of Indian Constitution and what are the unitary features of Indian Constitution. You don't have to explain, just write the bullet points. That would be enough. I'll go through them, and in tomorrow's session we'll continue from here. History is going to take some time, Rhythm. Probably we'll start with either geography or economics first. And once these two subjects are done, then maybe we'll start with history. So it's going to take a while before we start history. Alright, so that's it for today's session. For those of you who are new, these classes happen every day, 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday. And we are covering NCERTs, new NCERTs to be precise. If you are a beginner who's trying to build concepts, these classes are perfect for you. If you are an advanced student also, but you have problem with your basic concepts, again, these classes are perfect for you. So I hope to see you every day at 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday. That's it for today's session. And I have given you 2 questions. Question number 1 is you have to figure out what are the federal features of Indian Constitution and unitary features of Indian Constitution, and you have to write them down in the comment section. And the second question is, which subject would you like me to start next after polity? So that's it for today's session. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. and until then, take care.